borrowings drastically cut down. We also did a buyback of G6 for about 88,000 crores. This one single step, sir, has resulted in interest saving of about 5,000 crores apart from infusing liquidity in the system. So other than what we do through the schemes, other than what we give through devolution, for managing the taxpayers' rupee far more efficiently, these are the steps that we have taken, and repeatedly proving to the taxpayer that paying the tax truly is going for nation building. So we have also, in the July budget, shown very clearly that we will have a debt consolidation pathway, and that pathway will enable our government debt to be brought down closer to 50% of GDP, of 50% of our GDP, from nearly 58% where it is now, 50% plus minus 1% by 31st March 2031. That has been explained in the documents which have been given to the budget document last July budget. So, again, if that is the trend through the budget making and the effective use of taxpayers' money, questions were raised if the fiscal consolidation has been at the cost of spending. I think in the brief opening remarks itself, I explained how there has not been any reduction in the money being given to the social sector. It actually balances available money wherever it is available effectively, and that is not cut down. But if questions are being asked about you're giving lesser now, whereas the project demands more, I broadly highlight the fact that because technology is now available for both the center and the states, you can see where the money is lying unutilized. And if that money is utilized, bills are raised, immediately we shall fund the money to the states. Now, whether it is lying in your treasury, whether it is lying in the SNA account, which is for a particular scheme, money is lying, sir. And big amounts are lying in various big schemes across states. I'm not pointing out for one state or another state or the third state. But if money is lying there, it is a money given, and many times borrowed money. If it is lying there, am I expected to borrow more money and put it in there and keep paying the interest? Or is it better that you use the money and post that I can borrow timely and give it to you? Or if I have the comfort of my revenue, I can even give it. But that which is lying unutilized today is available for the governments, wherever they are, state or the center, to see and to use it much before demands are made for additional resources. I wouldn't get into reading how much is lying where. It is part of the budget set of documents. You can see it in the budget document which is available, and it is in the annexure statement 4AA. So any honourable member can see which scheme money is lying within their state and use it far more effectively, and that would only make efficiency far more for the taxpayers' money. So, I've already said about the money which is going to the schemes, so I wouldn't take more of the House's time. About growth challenges, I understand two honourable members have spoken. I think it was Sulata Dev from BJD and also Honourable Member Kapil Sibal. So it is a matter of fact, as I said earlier, that there are challenges. There's no doubt about the challenges that not just India, every country is facing. For India in particular, to explain why the Q4 growth was low and why we think it is manageable in the forthcoming quarters is because of the adverse weather conditions which prevailed during the year, excess rainfall in some states, drought in some others, and also the model code of conduct because of the Lok Sabha elections. Most departments could not spend their money in time. As a result, the multiplier was not as much as you would calculate when you spend on your capital expenditure. Sir, former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram has raised quite a few issues, and I have answers for all of them, answers based on data. And I understand he has also communicated with me through a letter that he is unfortunately not going to be in the House today for unavoidable reasons, and I appreciate him communicating, saying that he is not going to be in the House. But nevertheless, because they are very important points, I will try to give answers for them. Talking of unemployment,
वैसे आपकी उदारता है, संसदीय परंपराओं में जो बोलकर चले जा उपस्थित नहीं हो तो उनका जवाब देना आवश्यक नहीं होता, पर आप उदारता पूर्वक दे रही, धन्यवाद.
Because वो information भी मुझे था.
अच्छा, उनको जानकारी जी जी धन्यवाद, ठीक है.
I've conceded that, sir. No, I've conceded that, sir. Sir, he had asked a question saying the PLFS data has been released. The PLFS has said that unemployment rate is 3.2%. The same PLFS says youth unemployment is 10.2%. And the same PLFS says unemployment among graduates is 13%. So his question was, then how does PLFS conclude that unemployment rate is 3.2%? I have a bit of a discomfort, sir, in that it will be untypical of me to answer the way I'm answering, but I will do it with due deference. The blunt point is, sir, they are subsets and the lot are different lots. They don't sum up to become the average, which will have to be something else. You're comparing apples with oranges and then clubbing all the three and say, but how come it is 3.2%? The former finance minister, I'm sure, and I want to say this on record, is aware of it, but he still threw that question at me. With due respects, I want to tell him that 3.2 is the overall unemployment rate for the entire population. Whereas when you're talking of youth, it is a subset within which they are calculating the total. We need to improve in each one of them, there's no doubt. But to think that these did not add up to give a mean average is wrong. They are different sets. So I leave it there. I would think, oh, I'm surprised to hear that from former finance minister. I'm not saying that, but yes, surprises me. Sir, he also raised a question. What is the difference between new employment generation scheme and the PM employment generation scheme, that is PMEGP? Again, they are definitely different. Why are they different, sir? The new employment generation scheme, which was announced in the July budget, had 3 different schemes within it. One which will take care of first-time job seekers, for whom there is a particular scheme, the particular provision which is given, the first-time job seeker will be given this much if his moment taken in, and so on. And a scheme B within that set of 3 is job creation in manufacturing, where we incentivize for the employer additional employment that he will bring, either of first-timer or of somebody who's moving from one job to another. So this is linked to employment, and first-time employees were much more given that kind of an attention. An incentive will be provided at specified scale directly to both the employee and the employer through the EPFO route, so it is registered, it's transparent, everyone can see how much is going to which employer for which employee that he brought in additionally. And that scheme will last for 4 years. So for 4 years, if the same employee continues with the new employee company, continues with the employer, the incentive keeps flowing. So that's a second one. And a third one is to support employers, where all additional employment within a salary limit of 1 lakh per month will be counted, and the government will reimburse employers up to 3,000 rupees per month for 2 years towards their EPFO contribution for each additional employee. So the new employment generation scheme had these three distinct employment creating schemes. Whereas PM Employment Generation Program, PMEGP, is one of the flagship programs of the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME. It assists prospective entrepreneurs in setting up of new micro enterprises, particularly in the non-farm sector, for generating employment by providing margin money and subsidy to the bank loan. So the character, the nature, the purpose, and the method of PMEGP is this, and the PM's new scheme of employments, which are three distinct. So as a basket, the three distinct versus the PM Employment Guarantee Program are totally two different things. So the difference between the two is what came as a question. This is what I would want to give as answer. So there was also this question about high inflation, food inflation, asked by several members, former finance minister, and several other members who joined in as well. So as per the data released yesterday, the CPI inflation for January 25 fell to 4.31% from 5.22%. This is now closer to the lower end of RBI's inflation target, which is in the range of 4%. So the steep correction, particularly in tomato, onion, and potato prices, actually these three are key components in the CPI food basket, and additionally, decline in pulses inflation supported by tariff-free imports. For the pulses that we don't produce adequately for our consumption, we import, but we made a conscious policy of removing the tariff when the import comes in so that we don't add to the price of the landed pulses. So as per the RBI's report on 7th February, sir, CPI inflation for 25-26 is projected to be lower at 4.2% only. So food inflation, which gets triggered when you have an adverse weather condition and supply chain disruptions, are being managed by a group of ministers who are ensuring that timely import happens if there is a shortfall in the supply. So as a result, I think with the first advanced estimates on agricultural production, 24-25 being what it is, Kharif food grain production is expected to be at 5.7%. So the production of rice and tur dal is expected to increase by 5.9% and 2.5% respectively compared to 23-24. So the prices of food will be well under the inflation radar is the kind of advanced estimates which we are getting. But despite that, the group of ministers will be keenly monitoring. So what did this budget do, the current budget which is waiting for clearance? In 100 districts where agricultural productivity is really low, we have come up with a scheme called PM Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana, so that agri activities are given impetus, productivity is increased, so that more produce come into the market. Many other things are also added in it. Atmanirbharta for pulses, so that we grow as much and more of pulses, of all variety of pulses that we consume in this country. Then comprehensive program for vegetables and fruits, so that supply remains abundant. And a national mission for high-yielding seeds are also brought in, so that production of high-yielding seeds will result in greater agricultural produce in the market. Sir, I have expanded and explained about how governments attempt to get subsidized dal, subsidized rice, subsidized atta come into the market in the name of Bharat Chana Dal, Bharat Atta. I just want to say how much is already sold in the market. And that selling is going to help because if you look at totally between the phase 1 and phase 2, Bharat Chana Dal, 13.8 lakh tons are already sold. Bharat Atta, 16.0 lakh tons are already sold. Rice, 15.3 lakh tons are already sold. So with Chana whole, moong, dal and so on. So it is clear that government's attempt